Another Honda Insight video. This is number 10, I think, on my gray Insight. And I thought it would be really cool to share for a few minutes about the true cost of owning a Generation 1 Insight. So I found this abandoned parking lot here, and I'm going to share a few thoughts. Just sort of a quick recap. This is the second Insight I've owned. I bought one about 6 months ago on purpose to rebuild and sell and make some money. And so I bought that car for right at $2,000, and I put about $3,000 more into it. And so I spent right at a little over $5,000, and I sold it for $6,000. And since then, I've learned a lot more about these, and I probably could have got $7,000 or even $7,500 for it. Some Insight owners that had owned the cars a long time and kind of knew the market told me that. But I'm happy, learn more. So kind of what I want to talk about here is, you know, what do you have to put into one of these to get it daily drivable and sort of, you know, as perfect as you can for a 20-year-old car with, you know, that nobody wants to work on. And then what's it worth? And my short answer is, I'm going to say it costs about $5,000 if you're careful and do the work yourself to get one of these and get it restored to about as perfect as you can with 100-something thousand miles. And about 5,000, that's what I've found twice now. And after that, assuming everything is in good working shape and it has decent mileage, it's worth on the market $6,000 to $7,000, depending on, you know, how long it takes you to find the right buyer. My blue car that is on my channel, I sold it in literally about 8 hours. I put it up for sale, soft sale. Just put a video up describing it, didn't even say it was for sale yet, and a guy saw it and contacted me 9 hours away and committed to buying the car, and came down a few weeks later and bought it at my full asking price. So so did I get lucky? I don't know. I think there's people that want these cars and they're willing to pay you know, a premium amount. So what I'm going to talk about here is just a few categories, you know. So let's start here, and this is my cheat sheet for you. To get a good shell, when I say shell, I just mean a starter car. I've looked probably at 80 of these for sale in the last 6 months. That's either like physically looked at or called on and asked the owner all the questions. And by the way, let me say this, and I'll link this down below. Make sure if you're interested in this video, you check out my video that I did on my blue Insight, where I think I titled it 13 Things to Look At Before Buying a Generation 1 Insight. That is super important when we talk about this first point, the price of the car, because guys, you are going to be the mechanic for your Insight. Most likely. You need to be somewhat comfortable. By the way, nobody should own these cars. Nobody should own these cars. They're very quirky, and it's hard to get people to work on them, and if you do, they're going to charge you a lot of money. There's a few select people around the country that'll work on them, but for the most part, I've been you know, rejected. There's a few times I've asked someone if they'd work on it, and they said, no, I won't touch those cars. So be aware of that, but we'll start with the price of the car itself to get a good one. After looking at 80, again, probably 80 of these, I bought 2 of those 80. And from my experience, you're gonna need $500 to $2,500. If you get lucky, I got a buddy up in New York who found one for $500 and the battery was in good shape. He got lucky, but that doesn't usually happen. Usually what happens with these is you find one, and it's about $2,000 to $4,000, and the person had just charged the battery up and they tell you that the battery's in great shape. Number one rule for Generation 1 Honda Insights: if the battery does not have a warranty, that is the IMA battery, then the battery, you might as well count it as dead. Owning one of these and charging the battery every few weeks is just not the experience you want. You want something that you know the battery's either warranted, newish, or you put a new one in it. So if you're lucky, you can find a good one for $500. Usually around $2,000, $2,500, you can find a car that's in good shape, has decent mileage. When I say decent, I mean around 150, give or take. The big issues to look at, again, reference my earlier video on the 13 things. But transmission synchros, these are expensive things that you don't want a car with any of these issues. If it has transmission synchro issues, that's an expensive fix. The seat condition is hundreds of dollars to repair. If the front seat is worn out, which most of them are in horrible shape, and the foam is, breaking and poking out and the fabric's ripped. The condition of the paint, most of these you look at, the hood and the roof are going to just be completely oxidized. This car, I found a great one. The guy had those resprayed. He took care of the car. So you can find those if you look. And then another expensive issue is the RE92 tires. If it does not have the correct tires, it's not going to get the gas mileage that it should. Why own the car if it's not able to do what it was made to do? And so tires are $400 to $500 installed. So those are kind of big issues you want to look for. You might compromise on one or two of those if you don't care about paint condition, but you can find a good one with those things intact for, I did twice for around $2,000 if you're picky and if you look. And this car was 5 hours away, so I had to make a hike to get it, but I talked to the owner and I realized it was worth it. So you're going to be out, depending on your luck and what you're willing to take. That's your first category. The next thing is the IMA battery. I won't say much about this except just that a new IMA battery minimum is going to cost you, if you get a warranty, $1,200, and then maximum up to $4,000. That's if you get the top of the line battery that's got the maximum warranty and you get it installed. So that's a that's a fluid number there. Depending on, I've installed the battery I've taken in and out of these cars twice now. I can do it in an hour or less. It's very easy to do, but if you're not comfortable with possibly dying when you are playing with those components, you might want to pay somebody. And I've heard anywhere from $400 to $700 labor to replace the battery. But that is an expense you need to think about. So the price of the car and then getting yourself a good hybrid battery is important. And then the next thing I'd say I call mostly free fixes and consumables. These are things you do yourself. Here we go. That won't cost you money, or it'd be something sort of normal that you would do with any car. And that has to do with, my list here: paint correction, that's touch-up paint, cleaning stuff up if there's, whatever needs to be done as best you can. Correcting the headlights. These headlights were yellow. Again, these are sort of free things. You hopefully have some stuff in your garage or house where you can use to take care of these things. Cleaning the interior of the car, shampooing, vacuuming, detailing, all those sorts of things. Fixing little things that are broken. Typically those can be done for free or for almost nothing. Restoring the wheels, I did a video on that a few weeks ago. You can check it out. It's, again, something that can be done, you can do yourself, for very minimal cost. Getting the wheels looking somewhat decent, not perfect, but good enough for me. Tune up, getting, spark plugs, cleaning the EGR plate, little things like when I bought this car, the bottom plastic was pulled off, the trim here was kind of gross, so I got some trim tape for it. Just a lot of little free things you can do that really don't cost anything. So that's what I call mostly free fixes. And then the next category would be what I'd call negotiable bits. Now again, we're looking at what is the price to get a Generation 1 Insight in A- condition that can be a daily driver without problems. So for this one, I put $0 to $200, depending on how much you want to spend. For me, I went ahead and got some all-weather mats that are Honda branded. I got a dead pedal from the junkyard. It was $8. I got new pedal covers just because I wanted the car to feel fresh. All these things are just only a little bit of money. The Honda logos, the dead pedal right here, the new pedal covers. Other little things, getting a cargo mat. If you don't have one with the car, getting a cargo net back there. The armrest, which I just showed you, and I did a video on that as well. That was, I think, $12, $15 from the junkyard from a 6th gen Civic. And then just little things, a car cover, new stickers. These were, I want to say, 40 or 50 bucks for all these stickers. The stickers were peeling pretty bad, so I wanted it to look as new as possible. So all that stuff is negotiable. You may not care about that, but that's going to run you $0 to $200, depending on how much of those little accessories you want to add. And then the last two categories are negotiable mods. I keep getting in the shadows there. So $0 to $1,000. These are things that, you know, it's sort of like you've got the car now and you want to kind of take it to the next level and do some things that are just going to make it more enjoyable. In my case, the S2000 wheel, which really improves the car. That was $180 shipped for a very, very good wheel. I found a really nice one on eBay. I found several for that price. The rear speaker mod, which I did a video on. Again, these are not necessary, but they're just nice things that improve the car. Window tint, the clutch switch, the current hack, the rear springs that raise the car up, Fumoto oil valve. Again, I did videos on all those things, so check those out in my on my channel. But those are negotiable mods, is what I'd call those. Things that you can, you know, you don't have to do zero, but you can do if you want to just kind of make the car a little nicer. And then finally, likely issues. These are things that most used Insights are going to need some or all of these. Grounding straps, catalytic converters. I had to put one in my last car, my blue one. The rear motor mount, I had to put one in both of my cars. All these are very easy to install, by the way, unless you have a car that's a total rust bucket. Trip odometer light, I'm waiting on the part for that for this one. Repairing the rear latch, repairing leaks. These are all little things that you'll probably have to do, some or all of them, if you want a car that's clean, well sorted, not leaking, and having all the buttons work. Bottom line, guys, to do what I've done twice now, I've spent right around $5,000, a little bit more. So I'm going to say you're going to spend, assuming you do the work yourself, you're going to spend between $5,000 and $6,000. That's the bottom line of this video. What does it cost to get a good running with a warranted IMA battery, working everything? Again, you want to check all the obvious things. Do the windows work? Does the air conditioning work? Etc. But to get a good, clean, good running car that's getting great gas mileage, that's running as it should, a used Honda Insight Generation 1, my projection is right at $5,000 or $6,000. That's what I've spent twice. Again, now what is the car worth? Final thing, value. But I've got a bunch of question marks there because nobody really knows. I mean, the car's worth what someone is willing to pay for it. These cars, there aren't a lot of people that know or care about them. I will say, however, I actually just on my YouTube channel yesterday had someone say, "Are you willing to sell this car?" in one of my videos. So I've only owned the car 3 or 4 weeks and I've got somebody interested in it. It's not for sale, but I say that just to say that there is a market for these. There are particular people looking for these in good condition as a daily driver. And so I think, as I said, what's it worth? I probably could sell this right now for $6,000 or $7,000. As it is, I've got about $5,000 in it. So if you do the work yourself, you know, I turned $1,000 profit on my blue one. You know, you can make money, but that's not what this is about. It's about getting a car you enjoy. And I'll just say in closing, I've got this car about finished. I've got it about where I want it. And you know, I've owned a bunch of cars. If you look at my channel, I've probably bought and restored I think 4 cars in the last 12 months, and just doing it for fun. But I came back to this car because you know, it was more fun than the Cooper. It was more fun than the Prelude, and so I sold all those and I came back to this one. So I plan on keeping this a while and enjoying it, and about $5,000 in for a good daily driver Honda Insight. Cold air, 76 mpgs on my highway trip, 2 hours on the way home recently, about 60 around town, and it's cold here. It's in the 30s and 40s. Good tires, clean working air, etc. That's where you're at. So hopefully this is helpful. True cost of owning a Generation 1 Honda Insight. Leave me questions if you have them, and I'll see you in the next video.